and something looking back at her life was trying to figure out, well, I really wanted to understand her story, understand what motivated her to come to this country, and in having that conversation with my father. So that really made me think and say, wow, I said, I can't let that sacrifice just go to waste. I really have to do something. And and it's crazy, for anybody who's ever lost somebody that's been a huge influence in your life. When you lose somebody like that, you look at life totally different.
Hola y bienvenidos. Welcome to Mole Mama Cooking with Love. You're about to join us for our weekly adventure where we chat with entrepreneurs, chefs, foodies, and artists who are helping us to connect, be inspired, and learn. And for Mother Teresa, spread love everywhere you go and let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. That is the goal of every single one of our episodes. And given who today's guest is, I know that you're going to feel very inspired and motivated because Anthony Banderas is here from Échale Ganas, and he's going to be talking to us about his apparel brand, how he got it started, what he's been doing. It's all super inspiring. I want to tell you a little bit more about him. He started this business a few years ago. He's really focused on motivating his community and people around him with his clothing. So he has t-shirts and shirts and other things. And I was fortunate enough to meet him about a year ago at an event and started speaking with him and was immediately interested in what he was doing and hoped that someday I could get him on my podcast. So here he is. So I'm super excited. I wanted to read to you what is on one of his t-shirts because if you've never heard of Échale Ganas, you're like, what does that mean? So it's Spanish, and he's going to tell us more about it. But it's basically, it is this idea to do your best, and the way he puts it, which is so much more elegantly than I just did. But on his t-shirt, or one of his t-shirts, it says, the act of pulling forth maximum effort towards a goal slash or dream and never giving up. Failure is not an option. I think that is so beautiful. So with that, welcome, Anthony.
Hello, how's it going? Thanks for having
I'm
me.
good. It's so good to have you here. So I know that just gave a little bit about Échale Ganas to our listeners, but can you expand on what it is and how you got it started?
Sure. Well, échale ganas is a phrase that's used in the Latino community to help motivate people, to help push people. It's pretty much when you feel down, you feel tired, you feel like you just can't go no more, and someone would go and tell you and say, "Hey, échale ganas, you got this. You still got it in you. You still got a little bit of energy to keep going." So it's something to keep pushing forward, and it's a good way to visualize it. And I like to tell people this is, when you have toothpaste, for example, right? You have that bottle of toothpaste and it's flat, completely flat, and a lot of people would normally throw that toothpaste away. But if you just roll up that toothpaste and you roll it all the way to the cap, and you can still squeeze a little bit more toothpaste out, that's the same thing as échale ganas, right? You still got a little bit more energy in you to keep pushing, keep going. So that's a good way to visualize what échale ganas is, and what it represents. So, but how I started échale ganas is actually something. It was life experiences that actually uh, um, that got me thinking about this. Well, back in 2012, I lost my mother to ovarian cancer, and this was on the 3rd of March, 2012. And when she passed away from ovarian cancer, I took time off from work to go and mourn the loss of my mother, and be with the family. But what happened was, when I ended up going back to work, the very first day I went back to work after mourning the loss of my mother, I was told that I was getting laid off. So, the my boss told me, he said, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it. It's just that when you were away, we had layoffs, and your name was on the list. So my job ended up getting shipped to Cairo, Egypt. Um, and so I was given that news just after losing my mother, and then on top of that, the following month, my daughter was going to be born in April. So within those 2 months, my whole world changed, and life was just hitting me in the face, and I just didn't know how to handle all that, and I ended up going through depression. Just I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't motivated. I didn't want to get out of bed. I just it was a very tough time in my life. Um, and it wasn't until a friend of mine reached out to me. One of my high school buddies, he would always check up on me, give me a call, and he gave me a call and he said, said Anthony, you need to snap out of this, man. He said you need to understand that your mother lives through you. Everything you do from here on out, it's a representation of your mother, and that really spoke to me. That really opened my eyes and made me look at it from a different perspective. So instead of saying why me, it made me look at the other side of it and say, well, what can I do to keep my mother's spirit alive? What can I do to represent her well? And you know a lot of what she told me, a lot of what she taught me and my sister was, ganas, échale ganas, always. And something, looking back at her life, was trying to figure out, well, I really wanted to understand her story, understand what motivated her to come to this country, and in having that conversation with my father. I remember him telling me, he said, well, when we crossed the border, your mother was 7 months pregnant with your sister. So that really made me think and say, wow. I said, I can't let that sacrifice just go to waste. I really have to do something. And it's crazy, for anybody who's ever lost somebody that's been a huge influence in your life. When you lose somebody like that, you look at life totally different. You really look at your time as something of value, and you really search deep down, like, what am I doing with my time? Am I doing what I want to do in this life? Am I working in what I want to work in? Am I creating memories? And that opened my eyes. So it made me think of, I want to do something that represented my mother. I want to do something that represented my community, and I want to do something that inspired people, that was a rewarding business. So I thought Échale Ganas would be the best thing to do and to push forward, because that's what my mother taught me, not just by her words but by her actions. So that's something that she would always instill in me and my sister. So that's the essence of how Échale Ganas got started.
And that is such a beautiful story. So, first of all, thank you for sharing that story with our listeners, because it's definitely something that it sounds like was very painful to go through and experience. And I'm sorry that you lost your mom. And I know that we talked about that because my mother died a few months before your mother died. And also was a big, huge part of my life. So I just think it's so inspiring to have you be so courageous and speak your truth
Oh, no,
of
no, I appreciate
a
it,
very dark
and it's not
time in
easy.
life.
Yeah, uh, I,
No,
yeah,
but it's real.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
what
It
happened.
it is real, and something that I also want to tell people is that, you know, um, I think there was a person that came up to me and said, Anthony, not everyone is gonna feel sorry because you lost your mother. You know, and I was trying to explain to him. I said, look, I'm not trying to get people to feel sorry for me. But what I'm trying to tell people is that when I say échale ganas, I'm telling that person, hey, whatever you're doing right now, make sure it's something that you enjoy. Make sure that you're doing something that you want to do, right? Like, whatever your dreams and goals are, go after it. That's what I'm trying to tell you to do. I'm giving you my experience because, you know, until that happened, I was just going through the motions. I was just waking up, going through the same routine, and not really pushing myself, not really setting my goals, not really focusing on my dreams. And until that happened, it really made me think I don't have much time in this world. I don't know when I'm gonna be, when I'm gonna be gone. So while I'm here, I want to do something that I believe in and something that represents me. So and that's what I'm trying to tell people, right? And I'm sure you've gone or you've thought about something in this way, in this fashion, where you really do look at it like, how can I move forward, and what's going to continue to push me and bring me happiness, so.
Absolutely. It had a very similar experience to me because I had had a dream about Mole Mama and what that should be. And I had been trying to get it going basically in the workplace where I was in different companies. And I kept saying, no, that'll never work. And it was until she died that I finally said, you know what, I'm just going to do it on my own.
Hmm.
Like you, I was like, I'm out of time.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
out of time and I'm not going to be able to, convince anybody else to do this with me. And I can do it. So, and it's been an amazing experience for me.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think what you're telling people as far as, really embracing our lives and looking for that meaningfulness and what making ourselves whole and happy and stretching is such a great message. And that's why when I met you, I was so inspired. I was like,
No, no.
that's so great. You're so young and you figured this out. That's awesome.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's
and I'm sure your mama is so, so proud of you. And I wanted to talk a little bit. So that's the name of your brand, but then how is it showing up? What are you doing with that as far
so.
as with your apparel and
Yeah, so right now, I create designs. So right now, within Échale Ganas, the majority of what I do, it's all done by me. So I I I, I do designs. I put them on T-shirts. I put them on hats, wristbands, coffee mugs, um, and I go out to events, and I try to spread that message through my products. But also, through social media, I also try to tell these stories on why I do what I do and why this product exists. And because when I look back at stuff, my mom was very talented. She was very skilled. She knew how to sew. She knew how to cook. She knew how to do everything. And she would make my sister's prom dresses. She would make my cousin's quinceañera dresses. People would come to her to help them with their clothes. Um, my sister would draw dresses and tell my mom, "Can you make this?" And my mom would say, "Yeah, I can make this," and she would do that. So I I know that it had to be something in regards to retail that would push me. I love to draw. I love to be creative, and I think it's the perfect way to not only wear something that feels comfortable, but also wear something that you believe in. So, um, so that's what I do with Échale Ganas. Besides the product itself, though, I have also gone to schools, and I've actually talked to kids that need a positive message. Um, so I have done that as well within the brand. So something with Échale Ganas too is Échale Ganas is something that you can use in everything, from fitness, from business, education, family, love. Échale ganas to give it 100% in anything that you want to do. It doesn't matter what category it is. Échale ganas. So I try to tell people that, even in your podcast.
yes, it's a good message
Yeah.
for all of us. Absolutely. Absolutely. So where can we buy your products?
Well, you can stop by echeleganas.com, echeleganasapparel.com. You can also go to shop.echeleganasapparel.com, um, or you can find me on Instagram. It's echele_ganas. I'm on Facebook as well, Echele Ganas Apparel. So it'll be facebook.com/echeleganasapparel. But yeah, you can stop by the website. The ultimate goal is to eventually have a brick and mortar where I can actually have a place where people can come and they can shop uh, at a retail space. But actually, just a couple days ago, I got my first wholesale account. So now
Yes, awesome.
people will be able to come to downtown LA. There's I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it. It's called the Placita Alvera, and one of the stores there is going to be carrying my product. So you should be able to find that information on the website pretty soon. So once we get everything fixed and set up there, I'm gonna put up that information on the website, and then you can now stop by that business and pick up a shirt or pick up whatever it is that you want. So I'm pretty excited about that. It should be pretty
That
cool.
is really outstanding. Congratulations. And for our listeners, I'm going to go ahead and spell your business just because if people aren't familiar with it. But it's capital Echale, and that's Échale. And then Ganas is Ganas. So you can find, as Tony was saying, on Instagram or Facebook or his website, but that's how you spell it. And I've looked at your designs. They're gorgeous. Your logo is so cool. I love it.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
There's something very powerful about that logo of yours. It's
Yeah.
very simple, but
It,
so you
it,
guys got to check it
oh
out.
yeah, yeah.
So
No, I had to keep it simple, nothing too complicated, and make sure that the acento was on the E. You know, it says a lot with very little. So
it does.
that's what I really enjoyed about it.
Well, and when I saw it, I it made me think of because of the blocks. It's like our life is building blocks, and there's always another block that you can keep. Anyway, I loved it. I was like, oh, it's so good. It's great. It's fantastic.
No, no.
So I'm very excited that you've gotten your first wholesale account. That's great news.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
Very
It's
exciting.
motivating at the same time. It's just and it's crazy for anybody who's out there chasing a dream. It's just when you just stay consistent, stay the course, and keep pushing. It's amazing what can happen. You know, I get motivated when one person who doesn't know me buys a shirt or a hat, and I see them wearing it. Wow, that motivates me because it's somebody who doesn't know me that believes in that message, believes in that design. They enjoy it, and that's what keeps me going, and that's what if I would have stopped a long time ago, I would have never got to this point. So just keep going, never give up. Just like the logos, just like the phrase "Échale Ganas" tells you the definition. Just keep going. Don't give up.
And I think that's so powerful because I know myself and what I'm doing too. It's like you have those moments or those disappointments, and I'm like, oh, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
It's just
Yes. Believe me, I understand.
right? It's like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
It,
But look, for me, it's when I get the photo of my mom's Sonora enchiladas that somebody made in their kitchen, and
mhm.
I see her food in somebody else's home, and I go, oh, okay, that's what I'm doing.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah,
It's
no, I know
just you
it's
got to
very
find those little things that keep you going. Those little breadcrumbs that just tell you just keep following this path. You're gonna be okay. And that's something to take into consideration when you're starting something is that everybody started from zero. Everybody started at the same spot. So it's some people, catapult themselves to, rich in fame, but majority, majority of people have to go through the process of building it, right? And maintaining that,
yes.
whatever that is. So it's not easy.
No, it's not. And yeah, no, absolutely understand what you're saying. I've been there with you. I'm still there with you.
No,
But I think I'm learning that as new things come uh, into my life anyway, with my business, is that I wasn't ready for some of those things 2 years ago.
hmm
I couldn't have managed that, if that makes sense. I
yeah,
don't know
no,
if
it
you've
makes
had
perfect
that
sense.
experience.
It
Like I had to grow. as my business is growing. Like I personally had to grow to be ready for the next step.
Oh yeah, yeah. Life has a funny way of teaching you certain things when you need to be taught. You know, and if I would have launched my website and gotten 10,000 orders, I would have not known what to do. you know, I,
Yes.
I only started with $300 and I bought I bought some shirts and that was it. I didn't think about what if somebody does come in and wants to buy 2,000 shirts? So it's everything it comes when you least expect it and when you're ready. So it is very true.
It's very, very true. So I have to ask you about your pictures. Do you take your own photos? Because the photos on your website and your Instagram, they're gorgeous.
Yeah. Right now, I do currently take my own pictures. So, it's like I said earlier, everything that you see, it's all done by me. Um, and I had to learn, right? I had to teach myself and practice and just go do because I couldn't afford a photographer. I couldn't afford a videographer. So everything that you see on the website or on social media, it's all gone through my lens. Um, because of necessity. So, it's sometimes, and that's Échale Ganas, right? It's all right.
Right.
No excuses. I got to find the way. And I invested in a camera and just practice and watch YouTube videos and, books and just learn. And yeah, thankfully I am getting better. But,
They look amazing. They really look so great.
no, no.
So
Thank you. Appreciate it.
no,
Ho-
they really look
Hopefully, they
great.
can continue to improve.
That's fantastic. So, can you also, I know you have a YouTube channel,
Mhm.
and I think it's called Viernes.
Oh yeah,
So, do you,
the Valiente Viernes.
yes, okay, you did a much better job pronouncing it than me. So can you tell our listeners about that series that you
Yeah.
have?
When I started the brand, I also wanted to do something that highlighted people who had ganas. And they would give échale ganas into their goal or their dream. And so I figured the best way I could do that would be to interview people who are out there chasing that dream, right? It takes valiente in English would be translated to courage, right? So like somebody who has the courage to chase a dream, somebody who has the courage to chase a goal, right? Even as these big huge dreams that we have and you put it out to the universe, there's going to be people that going to say, nah, you can't do that, no, you shouldn't do that. But if you have the courage to continue to push forward, I want to know your story. I want to know what pushes you, because everybody, you have a reason to move forward, you have a why, right? Just something that wakes you up every day, something that's you know that you can't stop thinking about. And and when I interview these people, I ask them what their obstacles are, what gets them through those obstacles, what have they thought about ever quitting, uh, chasing that dream or that goal. And it's interesting to hear that because um, on top of that interview, I wanted to provide an opportunity for people that are struggling on social media. So when it's like there's people that you would hear stories of a lot of people getting depressed because they only see the good things through social media, and they only see the people with the six pack abs, right? People with the nice cars, the nice home, the vacations. But the whole purpose of the interview is to highlight those struggles to get to that end result. Because once you understand the work it takes to get that, then you can relate to it, and you can keep pushing forward, and maybe you can connect with that person. and reach out to them and ask for advice, and then now you have someone that can probably help you, and that's kind of what I wanted to provide people with, right? So um, just understanding people's stories and understanding that to get to the end result that you want in life, you have to put in work. You have to there's a process you have to go through, and there will be bumps and bruises along the way, but you gotta your purpose for doing it is gonna push you forward. So that's the whole purpose of the Valiente Viernes interviews. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much why I do those, and not as consistently as I would like, but I would like to continue doing some more interviews.
And I think what the information that you're sharing with us right now is the real, like the real, it's the real and the deal. It's like the reality of how our lives work.
Oh,
And like
correct.
you mentioned, we don't, a lot of us aren't that transparent about the realities.
Oh, yeah,
And so I think it's such a valuable lesson, valuable information for us to hear that when we are struggling, we're not alone in the struggle.
correct. We all go through struggles. It might not be the same struggles, but we all go through struggles, and we just got to understand that we have to find a way to get through those struggles. We have to, as long as we have the vision, then no matter what comes our way, we're always going to be able to align ourselves with that vision and keep pushing forward. So I think
It's
that's
great.
important.
That's It's a really strong, very powerful message. So I think we've talked about some of this already, but I want to ask you anyway. What's been some of the biggest surprises that you've encountered since you started your business?
Biggest surprises. Um, I've thought about this, um, but to be honest with you, like every every time I go to like events or um, it's just crazy to me the opportunities that come my way, right? Um, one of the things I mean, that I look at is when I first started, I would always think to myself, man, I just need to get my shirts on on somebody famous. Like I need to get my shirt on George Lopez, or I need to get my shirt on Eva Longoria, or it was always that mindset that I had in the beginning. But um, what I came to find out, or what I've been learning as I go, is that they're not the people that I need to get my product on. It was always the people that are the hard workers, the people that are striving to get to where these people are, right? So it's like people that are going through the process are the people that need it the most. And it wasn't until I met somebody famous and I talked to them about the business that they kind of looked at it more like, oh, okay, that's great, good work. And it was like it wasn't what I thought of. It was like, no, this should be something that you would want to wear. And but it just made me think, like, you know what, I mean, why would he be so um inclined to wear this shirt where he already made it? He's not as motivated, or he's not as hungry as these people that are striving to get where he's at. And I don't want to mention his name or throw anybody out there, but it's just I just feel that, what, I need to work on helping people stay motivated and to push them to reach um, that specific goal or dream, right? Whether that's in the movie business, whether that's in owning your own business, whatever it is. So that's been my biggest surprise, I guess I would call it, in doing this business. Hopefully that makes sense.
It does. It really does. Because it sounds like it's really shifted your perspective and really helped you understand, like you said, who needs your shirts and who's going to really identify with them?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of a big deal that you figured that out.
Yeah, it just understanding, you know, who it brings value to, right?
Mhm.
And who the message relates to as well. So it's um, it'd be very difficult for me to excuse me. It'd be very difficult for me to put it on somebody who's maybe not as motivated and just looks to, you know, relax a little bit or, you know,
Yeah,
it's it's better that people that live this day in and day out that are striving for something bigger. So
that's fantastic. So what has been some of your biggest challenges that you faced?
some of the biggest challenges has been, of course, trying to find people to be part of Échale Ganas, right? So like I mentioned earlier, like with photography, I had to do it because I needed somebody to take pictures, right?
Right.
Videos. I can't afford to pay these people and continuously give me content all the time. That has been one of my obstacles. But you know, I like to look at obstacles and find out that well, there's something there that I need to learn and push myself. Like if I already had a photographer, I probably would have never learned photography or not learn how to do a video edit or um, but I think one of the other obstacles, and probably trumps all of them, is time. I am a father of three. Uh, I'm married, and trying to juggle family and business has been probably one of the biggest struggles. Um, and it's not easy, believe me. uh,
Yes,
it's a lot of lack of sleep. Uh, and in trying to do everything and squeeze everything in, it's pretty difficult. So it's uh it's probably it's probably one of my biggest obstacles right there. It's trying to
time.
figure everything out.
And I can relate to that because people often ask me, they're like, "How do you do all this?" I'm like, "I don't sleep very much." It's
Yeah,
like I just
no,
don't sleep
it
very
is
much.
difficult. Believe me, it's trying to squeeze things in during lunchtime, during my kids' activities.
Yeah,
It's tough. It's not easy.
definitely not easy. So, do you have any messages for any of our listeners who are thinking about starting a business, and any advice that you would give them based on the journey that you've experienced?
um, Advice for anybody that wants to start any business. Um, I would say just always look at the mindset of why you do it. Why are you doing this business? And hopefully it's not because of money. Hopefully there's a bigger reason why you're doing something. Maybe there's a problem and you want to find a solution to that problem, and you feel this would be a good way um, to grow a business, because now you're tying a purpose behind it. And when there's a purpose behind it, it's gonna push you forward. It's gonna get you through the obstacles. It's gonna get you through tough times. It's gonna continue to weigh on you, and it's just something you can't stop thinking about. It's just gonna get you going. So as long as there's a purpose behind what you're going to do in business, I think it's gonna help you so much. Um, a lot of times when you're chasing money and that's all you're thinking about, then I feel like that stops your creativity. I think that stops, um, how to do certain things within your business that's going to bring value to the people that you're trying to sell to. So, because then a lot of times you start focusing on just numbers instead of, you know, trying to grow the brand and the business, and I think that's that's the main thing that I would tell anybody chasing that goal, right? Like it's like What's a good example? I'm trying to think of. I don't know. It's like when you set a goal, and like I'm a relate to fitness. So like in fitness, you push through and you say, you know what, I want to lose 30 pounds, so I can take my Cancun vacation and I can look good. I can look good on the beach. All right. Then you achieve that goal, and you go to the beach. You look great, but then after that, and you come back, then you go back to your old habits, and then that motivation, you just lose that motivation. So I feel like it has to be bigger than that. It has to be something like life changing. It has to be like you should look at excuse me, you should look at your health and your and fitness in that way. Like, you know what, I'm gonna make changes to my diet, that's gonna help me in the long run, to live longer, and essentially you'll achieve the body you want because the goal is bigger than that. So I know, hopefully I was able to
You did.
explain it
No,
properly, but
no, you did. It's very lovely because it's about that passion. And I think for you, what you're saying, what I heard you say is that it's thinking about what your customer needs
exactly.
and really staying focused on the purpose and the value that you're providing to that customer.
Oh, yep.
And I think that's a really good guiding light for us when we're doing our businesses. Absolutely. It's great advice.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. No. So, is there anything? Our time is together has gone super fast, as I knew it would, and you've been so inspiring. Oh, I got to tell you, I wiped a few tears off my cheeks a couple of times when we were talking.
Oh
So,
man.
is there any before our time ends? Is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners today?
There is, and it's just, um, and I go through this myself, but it just every day is a challenge, and I know that, right? No matter what it is, no matter what we're going through, even if you're in a good place, every day is still a challenge. You have a little voice in your head that wants you to stay in your comfort zone. You have a little voice in your head that says, "No, don't go to the gym. Stay in this nice comfy bed. It's cold outside. Don't go out there. Just put, you have this nice warm blanket. Don't go outside, right? Or you have a voice in your head that tells you to eat this bad food, or that constantly we had to fight that voice in our head to stay the course, to stay positive, right? And especially in today's world, it's very difficult to stay positive. But I would tell you, échale ganas. Whatever that is, whatever you're going through, whatever you're trying to achieve, échale ganas. Don't give up. Keep pushing forward and continue to find ways to improve every day, whatever that is, whether that's being a better husband, a better wife, a better mother, a better father, a better anything. Just continue to get better, and whatever happened yesterday, forget about it. It's always about today and onward. So, échale ganas, my friends, and I appreciate you guys having me on this podcast. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Tony. Thank you. Oh my gosh, what a great, great message for us to hear. Thank you. So I want to thank all of our listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mole Mama Cooking with Love. Please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. And please remember to add the most important ingredient to every recipe you make this week, your love. As my mama always said to me as we said our goodbyes, que Dios te bendiga. May God bless you. Thank you for tuning into Molly Mama, and have a great rest of your day.